real quick, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I've been noticing, and honestly, I know you guys have all noticed it because it has to do a lot with Black society and like the state of it right now, and like the inequalities, man, the weird, the buffoonery. I can't use the real term I want to use. I can't really use that. I don't want to call them. I don't want to do that. But there's a an underlying issue in the Black culture right now where we, for some reason, when we date outside of our race, we make it a lot easier for other people. And dating should be easy, right? In a sense, it should be in a sense, right? You shouldn't make it difficult for people that you're dating. But what I've noticed is that when we're dating outside of our race, we we don't hold the other races to the same standards that we hold our own people to. I'm not sure what that exactly what that is, but I know that, and I've talked to people of other races, and they pretty much want the same basic things out of everybody that they date. But a lot of the physical things that we need, a lot of the emotional things that we need, a lot of the stuff we don't need it. We don't ask for it from other people, from other groups. I'm gonna give you a good example, right? So we all know the stereotype for brothers dating outside their race when they date white women rather, they're okay with them bigger, right? And you know, to an extent, I guess there's a population, right, that do, like for me, I'm okay with a thicker woman. That's just I've liked that for many years. I don't. That's not my I've dated skinny women too. I think for me, it's whatever I like at the moment is whatever I like. So I've been up and down with it, but I've never been one to even as long as she looks good to me, that's what I like. So the woman I married, me and her have both been bigger, smaller. It just we like what we like. We like who we're with right now, right? But I say that to say there are some men that do like bigger women, just in general. You know what I mean? And so we don't necessarily know the history with them and women in general, but I can tell you that it's a stereotype because part of it is because we know that as black people we don't require as much out of other races as we require out of ourselves. So there's this underlying issue of okay, he's got the really big white girl, but does he like big black women? Do they, or does he hold black women to that same standard? And to be honest, I can't tell you if it's a lot of times no or a lot of times yeah, but I have seen black men with big white women, right? And there's nothing wrong with big anything. You know what I'm saying? Big any type of woman, any man, right? But um, at the same time, we have to really question like what's going on in our mind, like what's our motive? Why is that a thing that we got going on? What happened psychologically? We can go back to slavery. The next thing, the next example that I would say that's the most popular would be there is a growing discussion amongst black women and black people in general where they could have a really bad wig and then they go get them a white dude, right? And it's like a hard hair, hard wig, soft life, something like that, right? And I thought that was a joke. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a joke. I didn't because letting your wig get hard doesn't sound like a good investment in your money or whatever, right? I've no black women. The black women I know are serious about wigs. Wigs are like you have to respect that wig. You can't even do certain things around them, right? When they got a certain wig on or whatever. We know the stereotype that black women don't get in the water because it's gonna mess with their hair. So to me, it would be sacrilegious to allude that a sister would that any woman that has a wig on would just let it go to shit and not care nothing about it. So for me, I thought it was a joke. I couldn't see why it would be considered normal or whatever. That's just from what I've known about the women around me. So I thought it was a joke. Well, I was perusing the internet and all that and kind of looking to see what kind of was being said around that. And the theory is that when you're with a black man, you have to take care of yourself. You have to keep this up, that up, that up. But when you're with a white man, he accepts you for, even if your wig is old, you know what I'm saying? Or, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, anyway, that's what it is, right? And I think that there are some black women that have experienced that. I don't think that that was just something made up and nobody's ever experienced that. I would assume somebody has, right? So I'm not going to come out here and say somebody's BSing, but for me, I'm always looking for the discussion that's not being properly had, and seeing if I can maybe come out and shed light on it with just my little experience. Not that, and I don't tend to bring up numbers really, because a lot of this is based off of feelings. And before I touch more on the hard wig soft life, you guys have to understand that when you guys are looking at hearing these discussions being had and seeing them being had on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, a lot of people, whether they're the comments or the original poster, a lot of them have experienced turmoil with the opposite sex. You have to understand that some people that you're listening to have been hurt physically or mentally or emotionally. Some of them just have a hate for the opposite sex. It doesn't make any sense, but they have a general hate. And some of the people are coming from a healthy standpoint. Now, I guess a healthy standpoint might mean that if you've been hurt, then maybe you can still provide some clarity on stuff without being biased. So what happens is, you go on the guy's post where the guy's talking about his side of the scenario, and you see a bunch of guys. You see a few different guys, a couple different guys. There's the guy that he's looking to get love from the women, so he just posts something that's just contrary to what you say, right? And boom, doesn't matter if what you say is right or wrong, right? But he's just looking to say, hey, that's not how it is. Men are this, that, and the other. And then you got men that are like, yeah, them women, trash, yeah, whatever. Usually because they're not that they don't like women, not that they like men, obviously. This has nothing to do with your sexuality. It has everything to do with the pain and how far it runs deep, right? Or your past trauma. And then you also have dudes that are just like, man, I'm tired of feeling like I'm always wrong. Like, why are men always, and that's a lot of us, to be honest with you, right? And then you hear women make the same post, right? They make a post about it. And then you got the woman that goes, nah, I think you're wrong. I think women do this, right? And then they write her off. She's a pick me, right? And sometimes she is trying to get likes. Sometimes she is trying to get follows. I believe that. I don't, like I said, I don't have any proof, but there's got to be somebody. If we, I don't want to split hairs though at the same time. And then you got the women that are like, yeah, those men, pitchforks, fire. We don't like them. They're trash. Right? So you got them. And then you got the women that are just kind of in the middle because they've either went through trauma and healed, or they're just looking at it from more of an equal ground. Now, those women will have their opinions. Their opinions can be all over the place on it, right? When I say healthy, I don't mean be not agreeing with that person that might be saying something about men is healthy. I mean, their opinion comes from a healthy place, right? And then there's that one group of women that have never experienced any of that turmoil on that whole video, whatever. They've only had good experiences. Matter of fact, they're probably married. They could be happily married to a black man with kids, doing great, being taken care of, the way that a spouse should be taken care of, right? Loved, things like that. And in order to feel like part of the group, they have to talk about something. They have to be negative towards the other group. You get what I'm saying? And that is a lot more consistent with women that I've seen. And I'm not sure why, but I can say this. Women have an advanced set of tiered levels of social what social hierarchy or whatever, you know. And again, they're very social creatures. So you know, this might be something like I said, I can't answer because I'm not in that side of the. I don't know what's going on there, but I can say I see it. And the term is called pick me, and that pick me is given to you by a woman that has determined that you are not falling in line with the general mindset, which is men are the problem. So you're generally given that, you know. Now that's not to say that that's not to say that 100% of those women given that title are not pick-me's. It's just easier to write you off. It is. For men, if you're looking to get likes and ads from other women or whatever, if I call you a simp, right? And a simp and a pick me are two. A simp and a pick me are two peas in a pod. The differentiating factor between the two is a simp. He doesn't have to. He's not that. There's no area for, hey, I need to be like the other guys or else I won't be accepted. No, you don't. I mean, if assuming that you're a straight man, you know, straight man that likes women, nobody's telling you, hey, don't do that for women. No, you know what I mean? On the other end, for women, there are a large group of women that don't experience all of these things, that seem to still kind of fall in line with that negative outlook. There was a video that I watched where they were talking about dating and just a slight differences, you know, when you're dating, because all we can tell you, if a man is straight and he is specifically dating women, if that's the case, that's the information he has. He just has women from a dating aspect. I can't tell you about the inner workings or anything like that. You know, I don't like it when people try to cross into that area anyway. But he was talking about trying to find the right girl for him with the right values for him. And dating in general for men and women is crazy right now from what I hear anyway. But he, you know, on both sides, period. But he basically talked about, he said, you know, he says, let's say there's 5 lions walking down the street, right? And you're a sheep. And why lions and sheep are in the same discussion, don't know, whatever. But I'm not sure if lions and sheep even live in the same area. Who knows? But, you know, let's say they got to in Africa, right? Let's say lions and sheep, right? Sheep, the dude's just chilling there. He's a sheep. He's chilling, whatever, right? This is just an analogy. 5 lions come walking over the horizon. Well, come to think of it, right? From you know, looking down on the scenario, it's seemingly 5 lions. 2 of those lions are just sheep dressed up as lions, right? Do you have enough time, if you don't know this, they all look like lions to you. Do you have enough time to go, which one of these is the lion, right? Which one's the lion? Which one's going to treat me wrong? Or do you just go, hey, they're all dressed like lions. I'm going to look for some sheep. I'm going to look for some other, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere else. And that analogy works for both genders. And what he's trying to say is so many people look like the type of people that'll do you wrong. I'm going to use women as an example, right? If you're using looks to try to decipher, you know, what is the best type of woman for you, which you should be using looks to decipher who is the better man or woman for you. Point blank, period. You can, whatever, point blank, period. That's what you should be doing. If you're doing that, one thing to kind of be clear about is, hey, you are judging the book by its cover, but you have eyes for a reason. Your eyes allow you to determine what's not right. For example, there are some spiders and snake species. It's about to get real geeky. Give me a second though. There are some spider and snake species that have particular colors on them that make other animals believe that they're poisonous. That same theory works for humans because we have eyes, right? So if you see something and it's survival, you're going to be using making quick decisions based off of that. If I'm in a club and we're in there chilling, I don't know if you're a high quality woman. I don't know. I have to use my discernment to see that. I have to use the tools God gave me to find that out. If I don't know you yet, which I don't know you, if I just saw you in the club for the first time, I use my eyes. Okay, she's wearing, she's wearing booty shorts and knee-high boots. I don't know. She could be dressing like that because she's trying to attract men, because she wants to leave with something. She could be in there doing whatever. We don't know. We don't know. She could be a great woman. We don't know. You don't know until later on. Ladies, if you guys are in the club and there are certain things you look for to see if, that it's a quality guy, if that's the thing, if that's something that that's what you're doing, which probably is what you're doing. If it is, you're using the things that you've learned in the past to weed out the F-boys. The F-boys could be the boys that got the dreads in your area. The F-boys could be the boys that got the fade and the this, that, and the other going on. The braids, I don't know, right? I've never had to, I've never had to do that. But what I'm saying is you have your own things you look for. And is it judging a book by its cover? Yes. But there's a reason why books have covers. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason books have covers. We can run around this in circles all day. But everything is marketing. I always tell people everything is marketing. So when you see the book and you look at the cover and you read the title is an insight into the book, right? So I always say the book is what you're wearing and how you walk and how you go about yourself. The title is When I Shake Your Hand and Meet You, right? Might be able to get to the table of contents maybe, but usually that takes an additional date. It takes some sort of additional something. You get what I'm saying? So to put that into perspective, we have to really think about how we're dating and we have to really be able to use our discernment and things like that when we're dating. So let's just be honest. We're judging a book by its cover. When those lions come walking down the street, that was where that reference came from that brother gave. So I thought about that. I took that into consideration when I was talking about dating and things like that. Let's go back to the hard wig, soft life, whatever. The hard wig, soft life implies that white men accept you at whatever position that you're in. They'll take you. They love the heart. They don't judge you by this. They're okay with everything, right? And I think that really what's happening is there's a different set of things we're all attracted to, right? And we talked about this in the beginning. There's a possibility that we are too judgmental of each other. We're too judgmental of how we take care of things. Does the black man have to dress like this? Well, with the black woman, he does. With another type of woman, maybe he doesn't. I remember when I was growing up, I'm gonna just use high school, right? So y'all take partial heat. Y'all take this, it's high school, so take it. Well, it's just an example though. Getting a black girlfriend in high school was like if you could do that, you're doing good. If you can pull a black girl in high school when you was in high school, and if you can pull her, you did good. And you could always tell if your shoes were not up to par, if your clothes were not up to par, if your hair was not up to par. There were certain parts of my school you didn't even walk through. Because you walked through there, you were getting clowned. Period. You were getting clowned, and they was gonna let you have it. That's who I learned to roast from. Black women taught me how to roast. I didn't know how to. I would see them do their thing and be roasting. That's how I learned how to roast. The black man we roasted. Don't get me wrong, but if you wanted to win, you had to learn it from a black woman. Black woman was gonna break you down into molecules on the way to your class. You would arrive to class, you'd just be water by the time they got done with your ass. But this is just being black, right? Be part of being black. Black folks is sometimes we mean. It is what it is. But I say that to say there are there are certain prerequisites that we have for each other before we date. And it's interesting that one group of us, that one of our one group within Black society thinks that it's going to be so much easier on one side, right? And it's just it's now, don't get me wrong, I have heard black men say the same thing, but in respects to the hard wig soft life, just talking about that for a second, right? hard head Hard wig soft life implies that you won't be judged for not maintaining your wig, which I don't even know how that works, honestly. But you're not going to be judged by how your hair is maintained, and maybe how your skin is or whatever. You might be able to be ashy and not do your nails and all this and all that, and then be taken care of and be given the soft life, right? That's what I'm taking from this. So one thing that we got to understand is that in the black society, when we're talking about dating, a lot of us are not healthy mentally. A lot of us come from situations where we have abusive parents, manipulative parents, absent parents. Sometimes we're raised by our grandparents. Sometimes they have inner turmoil between each other, and this create. And then also, let's not look past black people, black neighborhoods. Black neighborhoods are not always the safest. Black neighborhoods consist of other people that could be hurt, right? And we're at a socioeconomical disadvantage in a lot of the neighborhoods. And so you bring all that together, and a lot of us have mental health issues, anxiety, depression, not to mention what we could be born with, you know what I mean? And PTSD, different things like that. And what happens is we then are put somewhere and said, hey, go date the rest of you. And then we got to go out and then maneuver through all these issues. And we don't know that these are issues until I'm 37, right? So until we turn 30 something. And now we're stuck in a situation where you date this girl, she only wants money from you. You date this other girl, she's been cheating on you. She got five other boyfriends and a girlfriend, or you're dating this guy, right? He's cheating on you. Come to find out he's married. You're dating this other guy. He putting his hands on you. You're dating this other guy. He trying to put you on the strip. You know what I'm saying? And all of these are different examples of sort of how mental illness looks later on, or past traumatic experiences look later on, or a tough upbringing, right? Let's take all that. So you take all of that, right? And then now you add on the sheep that are dressed up like lions. And they identify with all of the people that are toxic, right? They dress up just like all those people. And they might even live their life like those people for a little while. And maybe at some point in time they make sense of life and they change all that and they do better. But there's a good chance that they mess everything up before they get that way. Those people are not talked about enough. Those people are often married. Those people are often able to have really healthy relationships, but their ability to pick is hard because they're also picking from the same variety of people that I just talked about. That those groups consist of black men and black women. There are groups of black men and black women that are not considered dateable in black society. They don't, he's the guy that doesn't get a haircut often. He's the guy that doesn't dress like we think you're supposed to dress. He's the guy that doesn't listen to the same music, know the same dances. She's the girl that does not get the fresh new wig all the time. She's the girl that doesn't get, I'm not sure what you do with weave, but the new weave, the new hairstyles, right? She doesn't identify with what we consider black women should look like, right? And if you want to know more about that, I will Google that or YouTube that and see kind of what those pressures are for black women. I can't tell you all of them. I just know that generally where there's pressure that exists with men, it exists for women and vice versa. So we have all that going on. There's a very small sliver of there's a very small sliver of black men and black women in all of that are left, that are healthy, that are not unfazed, but that are healthy. Either they came through something and are healthy, or they never went through anything and they're healthy. But those people are trying to find the other group, and they're having to go through hell to get to them. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're having to date the dudes that want to put them on the strip. They're having to date the dudes that got a wife. They're having to date the dudes that got another girlfriend, another girlfriend, another girlfriend. They're having to date the women that have them saved in their phone as Cheesecake Factory. They're having to date the women that have two other boyfriends. They're having to date the woman that come to find out she be selling that body on the strip, right? And so on and so forth. She's crazy. She's busting windows out of cars. Right? So these are all things that we don't discuss. I think a lot of us are too busy trying to win in an argument. We're trying to win an argument, but we're not trying to learn what not to do next time. Like that's a lost art. Like the art of arguing in a relationship, and black men and black women are in a relationship. Whatever, however you feel about it, like it or not, we're in a relationship, and we're arguing amongst each other, but we're not learning from it. We have a lot of similarities. A lot of us are going through the same things. Black women are getting cheated on. Black men are getting cheated on. Black women are getting used for stuff. Black men are getting used for stuff. We're going through a lot of the same stuff, but to one side, that doesn't happen to the other side. And to the other side, that don't happen. I've been cheated on, pretty sure. My wife will probably say she's been cheated on. Both of us are black. Most of my male friends have been cheated on. Most of my female friends have been cheated on. And I would say my wife would probably say the same thing. Now, there are a couple males that I know that, a lot of the males that I know too, I'm just being honest, some of them are scared to be in relationships because the women that they deal with are all in relationships or married. So I've always asked, like, hey, why y'all don't date? Why you don't date? Why you don't see this girl officially? Well, she got a boyfriend. Or why? Or how come you haven't seen her in 6 months? Oh, well, her and her husband live in Texas, so I only see her when she comes up. What you see her for? I know what he sees her for, right? So again, a lot of us are doing the same thing. Now one could say that she's not happy in her marriage, whatever. One could say that the guy is not happy in his marriage. You get married, you get married. You're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. You don't like it, get out of it, then do whatever you want to do, and do it freely. You don't have to hide it. And I know it's easier said than done or whatever, but my point is that we make it easy for other races, way easier for other races. You could be dating a dude there could be a dude that literally put his hands on the last girl he was with. He'd get with that white girl and he doesn't put his hands on her. Now, we can say, because obviously, doesn't mean just because you put your hands on one person doesn't mean you put it on the other person, right? You can say that. You can say maybe they don't argue as much, right? You can say that. Whatever the case might be, we make it easier for other people. We make it harder for each other. I need you to have these shoes, this outfit on. I need you to have these waves. I need you to have this sort of swag about you. I need you to do all of these things, right? And then you get with the opposite, another race rather, right? And the other race is like, listen, everything's fine here. And some people have told me, well, we have different beauty standards based off like what we know. Like, is it something that we know? Do we know what's creme de la creme in the other race, whatever? You still have eyes though. Like you still have eyes. Like why is Frank's hair all over the place? Why is Frank wearing a t-shirt with a pocket on it and some straight leg jeans and some sandals and everything is okay, right? The best I could think of is maybe Frank's got some money. Maybe Tony's loaded. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. If that's all you're looking for is money, then you probably aren't quality to date enough anyway. That should be if that's going to be part of what you're looking for, it should at least be part of it, like among many other things, right? If you messing with, if you out there dating Sabrina and Sabrina is bigger, Sabrina got a bowl cut. You know what I'm saying? Sabrina not looking right. You know what I mean? She not taking care of her nails and all that or whatever, right? But Sabrina be breaking you off money. Sabrina be hitting it from the top. You understand me? And all that and doing all these things, cooking and all these things, right? If you're looking for, somebody to be breaking off bread all the time, if that's what you're looking for and that's the only thing you're looking for as a man, you crossed up. You crossed up and you down bad. That should be one. That should be amongst a list of things that you're looking for out of a woman. Period. This goes for, like I said, it goes for both genders. Looking for monetary value, monetary gains out of a relationship, and it's trash if we're not talking about your manager. It's trash. So if those people are the people that are going there and doing that, then we're not losing much in the black society. We're not really missing nothing because they kind of taking the trash out for us, So I really had to bring that up and kind of talk about that because that was, to me, that was wild. It was foul. It's not an authentic way of looking at life and dating. We all have our issues. We all have some of the same things, hurdles we have to jump over. And a lot of us don't look at those. But what I will tell you, though, to sum this all up, is I will never tell black people or anybody to know that somebody has emotional or mental illness problems, right? Or they got PTSD or they're just not right and good enough to date. I would never tell them, hey, just give that person a chance. Just deal with it because they've been through so much. No, because now that trauma becomes your trauma and now you have to fix it. And I don't think it's fair to tell somebody that. If you make the decision where you want to do that because it's just valuable enough, that's cool. But for me to just tell you, hey, yo, this is what you got to do. This is how things got to go, whatever, I don't think it's fair. So I never tell you to look at things like that, period. But I figured I'd come on here and really just kind of break down some of the stuff that I've been seeing and this whole hard wig, soft life, and this whole, you think you're going to find something 10 times better with the big old white girl. Hey, nothing against big women in general. Nothing against white dudes in general. And nothing against white girls or white dudes. The issue is when we use them as pawns to make the opposite group, the opposite gender within our race feel inadequate. If you have an issue with the opposite gender, it's either your mom, it's and or dad, it is dating that caused it, or some sort of childhood trauma somewhere. It's not all of our faults. It's not all of your faults. You get what I'm saying? And that's the hard thing. So and instead of discussing it and trying to come down to an understanding, we watch these podcasts and we go into the comments and just basically be like, listen, I don't like black women. I don't like black men. Y'all this, y'all that. Everything's your fault, right? And we don't get anywhere because of it. These podcasts are here. A lot of these podcasts, the healthy ones, are here to create a dialogue, right? A healthy dialogue to where people can really have a discussion. And really what's happening is there are so many more creators that go online and come up with these weird sayings and narratives and have the push to get these to go viral. And the internet gets these trivial, these toxic, these different things in front of the right people, other toxic people. Now you have 30 influencers sharing the same trash. And Yeah, yeah. There was a comedian, Ambria, and she made a dig at it. Right, she got on stage and it's a black woman, right? She gets on stage and she goes, "Everybody thinks I have a white husband, but I she was like, but I take good care of my hair, right?" And I laughed for like 5 minutes because it's just really a dig at how stupid this stuff is. It's really stupid. I've seen so many sayings and it doesn't do anything but further divide us, and we just run right into them folks right into them folks' arms, and should be judging people based off of their content of their character, not their color, right? So if you're looking for somebody primarily because of their color, a thing that they're going to treat you right, okay, we'll see how far that gets you. But I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'm out.